For example, there should be no ranking system, I feel, at a preschool level. So there should be no ranks like you came first, you came second, you came third.
Preschools play a major role in facing the children who are shy and not confident. Actually, as an educator, what we have to accept is we have to accept as a child is. Okay?
Contrary to popular belief, a child's self-esteem does not begin in adolescence. It begins much earlier in the everyday experiences of early childhood. The way children are spoken to, encouraged, included, corrected, and understood in their formative years plays a significant role in shaping how they see themselves and the world around them. Today, preschools are no longer viewed as spaces meant only for early learning and socialization. They are becoming environments where children begin developing confidence, emotional security, resilience, and a sense of self-worth. Good afternoon and a warm welcome. You're watching Education News Network. I'm your host Nitya Krishnamurthy, and today we're discussing a very important topic, the role of preschools in building healthy self-esteem. To discuss this, we have two distinguished preschool educators joining us today. Our first panelist is Ms. Sarittha Arakkal, co-founder of Globetrotters Kids, Bangalore. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
We also have Ms. Shwetha Sumanth, co-founder of Adelie International Preschool, Bangalore. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Nitya.
Thank you both for being here today. To begin the discussion, I'd like to invite Ms. Sarittha Arakkal. Ma'am, can a child's self-esteem be shaped before they even learn to read and write? And what does that look like in a preschool classroom?
I feel that a child's self-esteem can be reshaped before they learn to read and write. The learning process starts, learning cannot be imposed on anyone. So when the children enter the preschool, they feel very insecure. And it is up to the teachers and the caretakers to ensure that the children feel safe and secure.
Right.
So it's very important for the teachers to make them feel comfortable in the new environment, because they should feel that after mama at home, it is the teachers to whom we can look up to,
Right. So this becomes important in the early years itself.
Yeah, it becomes very important
Right.
in the early years itself. And once they gain, once they settle down, when the feeling of security comes in, they settle down. So once they settle down, they become independent.
Right.
And to become independent, we have to introduce them to, life skills, certain life skills. And through these life skills, they gain confidence.
And what are these important life skills in the preschool years?
It can be, it's like the everyday chores. There are daily routines which are given to them, like as simple as picking up bags, spreading their napkin, taking out the tiffin boxes from their bags, arranging it on the table. So when they do these life skills, when they do these life skills, they become independent. Right. And confident. So in the long run, it adds to their self-esteem.
Right. So inculcating a sense of responsibility becomes important. All right. So Ms. Shwetha Sumanth, coming to you, what role do preschool educators play in helping shy, quiet, or sensitive children feel seen and valued?
Okay. Preschools play a major role in facing the children who are shy and not confident. Actually, as an educator, what we have to accept is we have to accept as a child is. Okay? Make them understand and then feel comfortable, and then make sure that their voices are heard and they're valued, they're cared and loved. This is more important in a preschool. And we should give their own space and time for engaging in any activities or participating in any activities. There should be no external force or push from any parent or an educator. And as an educator, they can also form small peer groups where they can engage themselves and then they can express freely. Generally, a child who's really shy wants a constant watch from the an adult or a kind or an educator. So I feel that it is very important for an educator to create that secure and conducive environment for such kind of children to grow as a confident learners in future.
Right. So, Ms. Sarittha, do you think we are praising children too much today, or are we still not validating them enough in the right way?
See, it should be done in moderation. Too much of praise is also not good, and I feel validation is more important than praise, as such. So like words like "you are the best," "you are beautiful," "you are the cutest," "you are the smartest," should be avoided in order that there is no comparison. We
Right.
should not do a comparison. And if you validate them in the right way, because validation helps them to improve, like it mainly focuses on emotions and identity. So I think they should be validated in the right way.
More than the question of too much of praising, so what we praise and how we praise is more important here. As Sarittha said, yes, the right validation is very important rather than making a very general praises, which is very constant, saying that you're the smartest person in the class, or you're very good, or you're the brightest child in the class. So it doesn't really make difference. What you need to encourage them as a process rather than and the effort rather than the outcome. What I feel is, see, in this process, when you value the process, the child feels that, okay, I'm being valued for my hard work or my consistency, resilience, or my kindness. So such kind of attributes have to be encouraged rather than just the outcome. And when you encourage a child in such a way, then their inner confidence will develop automatically, and then they don't depend on like validation on an outcome basis, like you're just super or you're the best in the class. So that's what I mean to say.
Right. And Ms. Sarittha, I'd like to ask you,
Yeah.
in continuation to that question, like what are you seeing these days in preschoolers?
See,
With regard
what we see is parents go on praising the children.
A lot of praising is
A lot of
okay.
praising and pampering is happening here,
Right.
without the right kind of validation.
Okay.
So validation helps children to be grounded to the reality. So like instead of so if you validate a child, for example, like I saw you were nervous, but still you made an effort to join the group. So the child feels more happy that teacher has noticed me, and she feels like more emotionally secure that she's been noticed and she's been heard, by the teachers. So I feel validation is more important nowadays,
More effective than
more
praise.
effective than praise.
Right. Ms. Shwetha, you spoke about praising or rather validating in the right way. So in this context, I'd like to ask you, today we see children becoming very conscious of appearance. And there's a lot of comparison and good versus bad looks. At a much younger age, these are being formed in the minds of kids, either through media, family comments, or even peer interaction. So in a world of filters and appearance-based validation, how can preschools teach children that confidence comes from more than just looks?
Yeah, of course, as preschools, they have a major role to make sure the child feels more comfortable and secure in the school environment. So we can use a lot of meaningful phrases that your ideas are more important, or your actions make a lot of difference, and your kindness is encouraged. So such kind of motivation has to be given from a teacher, and always we have to reinforce that what you work is more important, or what you think is more important, rather than how you look. Okay, and a lot of activities can be conducted, like circle time. That's one of the best activity where the child can share their views and thoughts among their peers, and then their peer validation happens, and then it's they will be seen, they'll be heard and valued by everybody. So I feel that is better. And even you can also have mix of stories where you have a lot of characters with different personalities, okay, and role plays with different personalities, where each one is contributing in a different way, and each one has a different attribute and a character, so which is been recognized. Okay, so that's how with few examples and activities, yes, generally we can make sure that children doesn't feel anywhere like kind of very insecure in the class.
But so you're saying that the focus needs to be away from looks and you focus on skills and activities in class.
Of course.
But then parents at home talk about appearances and all of that. So how can preschools deal with this?
Yeah, so we as role models and teachers and parents also, we should be very careful about what we speak in front of children, because they are constantly watching us. They're constantly trying to imitate. Learning happens through imitation.
Yes.
So they are constantly trying to imitate what teachers do, what parents do at home. So whatever we speak or whatever we do in front of them, it should be done vigilantly, not without any comparisons as such,
Yeah.
because I think that's very essential.
Right.
Yeah.
And ma'am, how can preschools build self-esteem without creating unhealthy competition or pressure amongst such young kids?
Yeah, so for example, there should be no ranking system, I feel, at a preschool level. So there should be no ranks like you came first, you came second, you came third. So we do not have we don't have the exams also where they are ranked first, second, or third. Even for sports days, we don't have places like you came first, you are the first. You're first, you're second, you're third, We give medals to all the students who participate. So we should make them feel that participation is more important than winning. Because we at Globetrotters feel that every child is a winner. And I think that's really essential,
Right. So, Ms. Shwetha, how do you identify low self-esteem in preschoolers, especially when they don't express it verbally?
Yeah, we can identify children when they are not actively participating in a group interaction or peer interaction, and they avoid talking, or they feel very shy, or they feel very insecure. So it's very clearly visible. So there's nothing to label the child that you are shyful, or you are not you're very reserved. So we are not supposed to take out those terms and label the child, rather than try to understand and accept the child however they are, and make them more feel comfortable as an educator. That's what I mean to say. And it's okay to be shy. It's okay sometimes even to outburst also. Okay, it's okay to cry also. And you cannot say that a boy cannot cry, and good children don't cry, or good children don't trouble in the class. So all these things are a very negative impact on the child. So always go with the positive things, that I found you helping your friend when he or she fell on the ground. So such kind of whatever the characters are there in the child, so that has to be highlighted and appreciated. So that's what I mean to say.
Right. So, Ms. Sarittha, do you think overprotective parenting, or as we call it, helicopter parenting these days, do you think it can sometimes weaken a child's confidence instead of strengthening it?
Yeah, I feel overprotection can weaken the child.
Okay.
Because the child needs to develop on their own. So when they enter the preschool, if the child is given the right kind of, if the child is taught the right kind of values, then the child is able to develop on their own. They feel appreciated. They feel appreciated, and you can boost their confidence by clapping after every activity, calling out their names, encouraging them.
Yes.
That's
important. Right. I'd like to ask both of you the same question. Years later, what do you hope every child emotionally carries with them from their preschool experience? Ms. Shwetha, can you go first?
Yeah, of course, when the child passes out of the school, the child should be a very happy child, and the child should be more confident, and the child should feel that I'm capable of doing anything. It's okay to do mistakes, but still I can learn. That's the hope that every child should carry once they go out of the school.
And Ms. Sarittha, you?
I feel we should encourage our children to be emotionally strong, and have values, and give importance to values like empathy. Empathy
is a very important skill to develop in kids.
And they should develop empathy, compassion, humility.
Yes.
So these are more important factors in today's world, and they grow up to be individuals who can they should be more focused, and maybe grow up to become thinking adults.
Yeah.
Self-esteem is not just being best. It's just like you're being accepted, you're being loved, you're being cared. Okay, so that's what the child has to feel that. And never a child remembers what you have taught in the class, but the child always remembers how you have made them feel in the class. So it's very important that child carries this strong attitude when they go out of the classroom.
Right.
And they should feel, see, even if I fall 100 times, they should be have the hope and determination to get up and do it again and try harder. So even if they make 1,000 mistakes, they should have the determination to let's do it better next time.
Right. So self-esteem is very important. Then I think parents, preschool, schools, they all need to work on this together towards the child, right?
Yeah.
Yes, self-esteem starts even before they come to school to read and write. Self-esteem, it's something like kind of, it develops as the child develops, okay? And self-esteem, it actually starts at the time of infancy only, and it turns into self-worth at the age of almost 5 years. Okay, so everybody, even every stakeholder and every person who comes across and every experiences what the child will face will all build their self-esteem.
Right. And in this context, ma'am, what do you think the importance of teacher language and tone is in shaping a child's emotional confidence? I think that plays a huge role.
It plays a huge role in that. Of course, as
because
teachers,
I'm sorry to interrupt, if I could just share my experience, like the reason I am paying heed to this topic is because I remember when I was in school, I was on vacation, and from my balcony I could see a preschool, and there was a teacher using children to explain to the other children. So she was saying, this is dark, this is fair, this is fat, this is thin.
Okay.
And that caught my attention, and I thought how wrong that was and how important it is for teachers to do away with this. So if you could just touch upon the importance.
Definitely, no, this is not accepted at all.
Yeah.
Okay, every child is unique and we have to celebrate that uniqueness, and every child has a different potential in them. So as educators, you have to identify their potential and start nurturing that. Okay, though the child might have a different complexion, but the child is very good at heart. So you need to appreciate that. So the values are more important, whatever the character is more important rather than the looks. Looks are just mere.
Right. So normalizing looks and paying attention to qualities is what we need to do.
More important.
Right. So Ms. Sarittha, what do you think the impact of comparison is on kids, whether it's academic, behavioral or physical?
We should see, there should be no comparison in preschools.
Yeah.
Because every child is different, and every child has to be worked on differently. So there are slow learners, there are fast learners. So the teacher has to understand the pace of her class and then work with the children.
Yeah.
So there cannot be any comparisons at such young age, because they are in their developing stages.
The formative stage,
formative
which is very crucial.
stages, and formative stages are really crucial for their emotional development.
Yeah.
So they take forth a lot of things, what the teachers have said, what their friends have said, So it's really important that the child should feel safe and secure, and child should be made to feel that he is important. So like in whichever way you do things, it's okay. You develop at your own pace,
Yeah.
So that's what I feel as an educator should be implemented.
Ms. Shwetha, how do you think storytelling, play and creative activities contribute to stronger self-esteem in children?
Okay, story play or creative activities are very routine in all the preschools. So we design activities in such a way there is a learning objective and a skill developed. It is not just, okay, pick up some story and narrate a story and end it up with that, and add some colorful things like maybe characters or like puppets. So it's very intense, and then it is meaningful and age appropriate when we select the stories. So when we select the stories, we make sure that there are good characters and then there are negative shades also, because we need to teach the child which is both good and bad, and then it's left to the child to analyze and come to a
Make a decision.
judgment.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to give choices to the child. If there are no choices and we say this is what it is, and then you have to accept, it's not right. And yes, storytelling has impacts a lot on their vocabulary, on their imagination, their creativity, developing values, and then critical thinking. So a lot of skills will be developed along with learning.
See, storytelling, I feel, is one of the tools for creativity. So storytelling, if you ask me, when we were young, we just, the teacher narrated a story and we were asked to narrate after that.
Yeah.
But nowadays, what we should encourage children is, we should keep on asking them questions. What if? What if? What if the ending of the story was different? What if we add on more characters to the story? So that way they develop their critical thinking skills, and they become more creative.
Creativity also comes
Yeah,
into play.
creativity comes into picture.
Yes.
And then you ask, what is your reflection of the story? So I feel that's really important, that the teachers narrate story, they introduce new characters to the story. See, it's an age of, it's an age of, AI, ChatGPT, everything is at our fingertips.
Right.
So the person who is creative stands out. And how do we develop creativity? That's basically through storytelling, through drawing art, drawing skills, art skills. So all these are tools for creativity, I feel. And especially if you ask me, how do you develop creativity in children? I would say that some kids are born creative. For others, creativity can be inculcated if done in the right way from a very young age. And how do we develop creativity? Through drawing skills. There are different mediums of developing creativity through drawing skills. For example, in a regular class, we give a picture of a lion. It's just a picture outline of a lion, and then 10 children are there in a classroom. So regularly the teacher asks them, so just color the picture and give it to us. But if you have to make them creative, the teacher will reframe the question. Where do you see lion? Is it in the jungle? Is it as a print on the t-shirt, on your t-shirt, or is it on the cover page of a book, or is it an animated character? So these are the 4 different ways in which the teacher asks the questions to the children. So the end result is 10 children think differently, and then you have 10 pictures are all different. So this is one of the tools of creativity, I feel.
So there's a lot of scope for inculcating all of this.
Yeah.
Educators just need to know how to go about it.
Educators should know how to do it with young children.
Right, in the right way.
In the right way.
Right. I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this brings us to the end of today's discussion. Thank you both for sharing your valuable thoughts and experiences with us today. Today's conversation reminds us that self-esteem is not built through praise alone, but through belonging, encouragement, emotional safety, and meaningful interactions during the early years. Preschools, therefore, play a far greater role than we often realize. Beyond academics, they help lay the emotional foundation upon which children build confidence, resilience, and identity for years to come. We hope you enjoyed watching this panel discussion. Thank you for tuning into Education News Network. For more such conversations, do visit our channel, theenn.com, and make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. For now, signing off, this is Nitya Krishnamurthy.